And in a second, this router is going to show you its range of addresses that it allotted by default. As we look down further, we see that we got a local IP address of 192.168.1.1. We see that we have a subnet mask, and now we've been told that that's a Class C address. The DHCP server, that's Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol server, this is the thing that hands out those host addresses, the whole thing, it's each computer. If you turn that off, you manually now have to go to each computer and manually put in its IP address, subnet, and you can have 100 PCs. So it's easier to let this router's DHCP server, boom, 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 do it for you automatically. As the computer comes off, that address goes back into its stash that it can hand back out to another PC that comes on. And a lot of times this stuff is being done automatically. You don't even have to worry about it. Yes, sir.
Mr. Lewis, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
On that subnet mask there, it shows that it's Class C.
Mm-hmm.
But when you click the drop down,
He clicked that drop down.
it gives specific what's the significance of that? I mean, why I'm missing that.
I'm missing it too. I'm gonna ask Daryl about
Okay,
this.
if you
That's
click on
right
it, then
down.
I'll explain it to you.
Go ahead and click it. It'll drop
Can you
down
click
and
on
show
the,
you some more
the
Class C
255?
addresses.
Okay.
Oh, no. Those
Well,
are
yeah,
certain-
Okay,
There's
yeah, so
certain ones
what it's doing is it's subnetting out the subnet address. And what
Right.
you can do is, for each octet, you have 8 bits. And so the 8 bits, if you start with your 8 bits, you always, you might want to steal a bit when you're doing hosting or for your host, if you want a different host or what have you. Like here, this host is going to be 0.
Right.
But now you could, you always have to start with your far right or whatever. So you would add your, this would be the 128, let's do that. 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, and 2 and 1. So what you would do is you would take these two and you would add them together or what have you. So you're stealing a piece of this and you're going to make it a subnet. So what you would do, it would be like 255.192. So if you saw that, and then when you go here, like if you did added 16 to or 32 to that, I think 192 and 32,
I pulled up.
4, 224. I thought.
224.
Okay,
The first one's 128,
one.
and then the second one's 192, and then the third one's 224.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
you're
yeah. So
right.
you add those
Adding
together
each
or
one,
whatever.
right.
But that's how you subnet
Ah.
the subnet mask, because the 0 is a 0 is always going to be a host.
Right.
And then you can take that. Now, once you get these numbers or whatever over here, it'll break it down. Like this is, I think it's a slash.
He's going to slash.
16.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I done lost all of that. It's in the book, though. That's another way of representing them with the slash.
Right, right. Like your class A address is like a /24, which
Okay.
means that you have 24 bits of host
Okay.
or whatever. And then you have /16 for your class B addresses, and then you have the slash. I think it's 20.
I got to pull the book.
Uh,
Right there.
But 16, I believe it is. But it's just a slash to actually tell you how many subnets that you can end up making out of
that original.
that original or this last octet, which is your host.
Gotcha.
And it's only host. And what it does is it subnets it for you. That's why you can take a class A address, which is 255.0.0.0, instead of it being 65 million, you can break that down into smaller hosts or whatever, because you can have a class A address which would start with something like 10.0.0.0, and then 255.0 or 255.0.0.0, 0.0.0.
It's a heavy.
You know right away that this is gonna be the host.
Right.
This is the host address. The rest of this is all, I'm sorry, this is the network. This is all host over here. So you got host, and that, the host would be 2 to the 24th power. So 2 to the 24th power is something like 65 million, is some crazy number, 65 million,
Yeah.
660 something thousand, but it's a whole bunch of numbers, and you don't want to ever have that much chatter on your network because, again, you know, when you got just one, if you got that many hosts talking, there's a multicast
Right.
at some point that's going out. So what you can do is you can always break that down, but what you would have to do is start stealing bits from here. So then you can make this 255, 255, 248, 0.0 or whatever, but you subnet it and you broke it down into whatever the 248 is.
Gotcha.
And again, I can break those numbers out at another time, but that's really getting
You're getting into
into-
subnetting.
into
Right,
subnetting, but
subnet, sure.
that's what it is, but that's how you can subnet. You can subnet class A, class B, and class C. But the only way you can do it, you know, it's all associated with, once you turn, this is always gonna be turned on, that host, I'm sorry, the network bit will always be turned on for, you know, the class A, which starts with the 0. And then the next one, which is 10, I'm sorry, 10 would be 128. And you see 128 starts